The first thing you're going to want to do is scroll over to the right-hand side and then take a look at the checkboxes and figure out if they do or do not match the way in which you run tax season. More than likely, by default, these checkboxes do not match the way in which you do your taxes. So what you want to do is click the Define Process Steps button at the top here. It looks like a pair of shoe prints. And from here you can completely customize these checkboxes. So you can swap, delete, modify, and add as many as you require so it matches the way in which you do your tax season. Once you've had a chance to modify these, and then you begin to fill out the checkboxes themselves, you'll see a color here which will darken as you go across to visually show you where are you in terms of completing the taxes this season. Once again, after you fill out one of those checkboxes, if you click beside it in the same column, it'll show you more detail. Now, as a nifty little side note, the default color for those statuses is actually a very vibrant lime green. If you're anything like me and you don't want to stare at a screen full of vibrant lime green, you can change the color particularly to your preference, which is per computer, by going to the very upper right-hand corner, and you'll see there's a little box with a round circle and an eye in the center. This allows you to call up this window so you can change the color particular to your computer's preference. And here's how things pretty much go during this portion of the program. Every single client begins with the status of a waiting client. When they come to see you, generally they don't bring you everything you need right from the start. So your first status switch will probably be on hold, missing info. And then you can use the blue circle in the bottom right to actually list what it is that you're missing. When they do finally bring you everything you need, you'll probably want to switch them to in progress and then fill out that you've received all docs. At which point that date will get recorded right beside it. You can then use the in-house due date to specify what your turnaround time will be. Then you can see that there is a days in progress, which will begin counting the amount of days that the files have been in progress in your office from the day you said you received everything. And it will keep counting until you physically switch the client status to completed, at which point the completion date will be recorded under the completed date column. Lastly, you then have who is overall responsible for this client. So you have lots of really relevant information in here, including at the bottom of the days in progress there's an average, which if you look at it at the end of your season, your average may tell you did an average of 15 days. So that means that maybe you had a fantastic season and everything went really well and there were no problems. Or it could be that maybe the average says you did closer to 23 days. So if you sort by the column, you might notice that the first 30 clients took a lot longer than everybody else, which means that it messed up the average for everybody. So that would maybe give you some insight as to work on them first before anybody else next season. Or the average might say that you did closer to 33 days for everybody. It's possible that maybe you had an abundance of new clients come in this year without enough staff to keep up with the new workload. So that number may give you some insight as to possibly getting some temporary people on to accommodate for that next season. And then very lastly, there is a drop down above the list here on the right hand side, which allows you to look back at any previous year you've done in the program. So if you were to switch it to 2012 and then say, show me all clients at the awaiting status, this will tell you in seconds that these are all the people who did not come to see you for last tax season. So then you can get your user on the phone and start calling up those individual clients, so you can then either try to recapture that lost revenue from last year or confirm that they are in fact an inactive client and then get them off your system.